Thank you, folks. We're proud to have here the director of the film, Idan Haguel. Thank you, Idan.
Hello.
So let me start by asking you, where did this come from?
It came from my experience in living in that house, living in that neighborhood. Um, I've been 7 years ago. I moved into Neve Sha'anan, which is a neighborhood in South Tel Aviv, and very closely to the day that I moved, very quickly I saw this very brutal police arrest happening outside of our building, and I was woken up in the middle of the night by it. I went back to sleep, and the whole event felt like a dream. I kind of repressed it, and after a week or so, I was in my therapist's apartment, clinic, which you saw also in the film. It's the same place. And I started remembering it, and the event plus the way I repressed it and the way I remembered it became the initial spark of the idea that I felt really interesting, and I started to think about it in my mind for like a year and a half, 2 years. And then when I felt that there's a movie there after 2 years, I started a lot of anecdotes that happened to me in those years that I lived there started to magnet into the core of the idea, and everything started to form. I don't know how to explain it otherwise, except like strange movements of hands.
The film, I find the film, sorry, I mean, with all of, like, there are tragic elements too, but there's also, it's kind of in some ways making fun and kind of makes fun of the white privilege that's there, obviously, and in general, privileged society. Where did that perspective come for you?
When I sat down to write it, one of the rules that excited me to follow by in the writing was to be as brutally honest as I can, and it was meant to be a satire, a self-parody, something that would make fun of myself and my existence in this neighborhood and my existence in this building. So by being brutally honest with myself, I could be. It started to be honesty started to spread around, and humor started to. I'm also like very. I'm looking for humor, also and irony, in everything I write. So just that things happen like naturally.
It's a wonderful element because obviously this film speaks, I think, here in America, volumes. Obviously, police brutality, white privilege. These are topics that we're hearing about.
You love that here.
Yes, we eat that up here, but we can't make fun of ourselves about that.
Yes,
a white man cannot make a movie about being white privileged. Yeah. Only a black man can, or a black person can do that. I'm wondering about the separation in Israel that makes it, I think, so specifically Israeli. Were you thinking about? I mean, this obviously what's going on here in America is something that's internationally covered. Does that play a part in this reality that exists in Israel?
I think politically correctness and liberalism are ideologies that are hovering above the Western world. It's like something that came out of America and certain countries in the UK, and it's spreading into other countries who have that liberalism agenda and desire also to be part of that. And so a lot of a lot of political correctness is also entered into society of Israel. I don't think my point of view is a classic point of view of an Israeli filmmaker. I think it's, as I was writing it, I knew I was taking a risque point of view, and that is why the the um, the risk of the film was always to, and the goal of it was always to be to balance it, to try to walk the line, not to fall too hard on one side, to be very gentle, to keep it ironic, to keep it floating. If it was too heavy, it would sink, and there are a lot of eyes watching and policing the film, and you want to keep the people involved, and but you want to say what you have to say, and on the film is supposed to satirize not just me but the audience itself. Like, I'm not exposing something that is private to those characters. I'm exposing something that is happening around the world.
I have to really point out just like how hard it is, and I give you so much credit, to walk that line of being able to like create that irony. I mean, I'm thinking if this movie was remade here in America, it would be this heavy-handed movie about a very serious situation. Which
you would not remain in the point of view of Ben. You would morally feel impossible to do that. You would obviously have scenes with the neighbors, and Ben will not. The conclusion of the film will not be Ben saving himself in front of the camera of his boyfriend, but he would probably save someone for real, and he would be honestly regret everything that he did, and because the world today is movies and art has become very educational, and to that point, and for me it's alarming because art is supposed to be truthful and expose something, and education is formed in the mind of the viewer. It's not formed on the screen. So, like the intelligent part is like the viewer thinking about the film, not the film thinking about the film for the viewer. That is, I think. So, I think I left a lot of room for the audience to think. And maybe Hollywood wouldn't.
Yeah, I think there's education in irony too, and I think this film points that out like really well and gives you this ironic environment where even at that ending, even this ending where it's like, oh, we feel good about ourselves, the couple feels good about themselves, which is like the exact opposite of what they should be doing, feeling good about themselves. Even the title of the film, "Concerned Citizen."
I don't think they feel good about themselves, actually.
Oh, they don't. Oh,
I don't think so. I think they try to, but it's not a deep feeling. I think it's a superficial feeling. But yeah, sorry.
They got their redemption. He came in and was able to do what he didn't do.
But immediately you can see on their faces that they faked it. I think like they feel like it's a bittersweet thing. It's not the thing that they wanted. They would want to be the people that they filmed, but they know they faked it. So forever they will know they faked it.
I like that. But let's give you a microphone. I'm happy to take some questions from the audience and comments from the audience.
Wait, you wanted to say something? I interrupted you. Sorry.
No. This was it all fits in nicely. But we'll take some questions and comments from the audience. But I just want to make sure everybody can hear. So we'll pass the microphone.
קודם כל אני רוצה להגיד לך כל הכבוד, נהניתי מאוד. But no, what I was saying is that the fact that you see Ben's partner hearing him stage the call lets the audience know that it's performative and that they know it, even if they don't admit it.
I heard the film has started playing at the IFC here in New York, and been released on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. I'm plugging it, But at the IFC,
Tell your friends.
the IFC, one person analyzed it as if the character abducts the film from the director and start to direct his own ending because he can't get out of it. So he directs something for himself. So I like that interpretation.
We're happy to take more questions and comments.
Was that intentional to have those two men that are actually a couple in real life to have chemistry and stuff like this, or was not intentional?
It was very intentional. I was starting the process of, I should sit straight. I started the process of casting and very quickly I realized that I want gay actors because I didn't want to. I'm a little bit lazy. I didn't want to direct actors, straight actors, and tell them how to be gay or how to touch people. I couldn't imagine myself doing it. Not because it's impossible. It's very possible, and I'm not. I don't have an agenda or something. I'm just lazy, and I wouldn't want to waste my film, my shooting days on that. And then I became even lazier, and I said, like, why not bring a couple? It's a ready-made chemistry. It's been done in a few films before. It's been very good. Let's do it. And also, it made me feel I believe it more, because I'm the first audience. So I was feeling like I was picking on something, and it gave that rush of realism also to it. So it was a very good choice, I think, and it's also one of the best choices I made as a film director in this movie. I'm not like I'm not loving myself here, but it's one of the best choices I made. Just bringing a couple, because it saved so much time in directing them, and also they're very, very good actors, and I couldn't believe that they even wanted that. Like, it was so brave of them, because it's very complicated to work with a couple amongst themselves and with me and what they allow. But I never asked them I never overtly asked them to bring their private life into the film. I sensed that they're working with something with a base of intimacy, and it's really a ready-made. Like, you put the intimacy inside the film, and now you can focus on the story. You can focus on the characters. You don't have to work on that. How to touch, how to talk with, how to look at. All those things that would take time that I didn't have.
And it really helps. There's a very natural flow with things, and I think that helps with probably just all the interactions, whether it's an intimate scene or not. It's just feels very natural.
Yeah, because also naturalism was the key also for the material to work. It couldn't work if someone felt we were trying to push a message or something, or to touch too hard on the comedy button or the drama button, or it needed to be quiet. It needed to be deadpan and realistic as possible. And we needed to believe in it, because the material was, sometimes they say stuff like in the scene with their friends. Some of the texts there are alarming to hear in a film, but if you feel it's natural, it's whimsical, then you can say a lot of bad things and just go through it, because it feels natural. It feels like the characters believe in it, and it's part of their. And a lot of the lines that they say is also part of a research I did. I heard people say those things, and it was part of the research about surrogacy and things like that. That I talked with couples who made that process, and a lot of lines that I heard people say were just like cut and pasted into the dialogues, and so the way they told it to me naturally, I wanted it to land on the ear the same way I heard it.
And yet it's so absurd sometimes. A lot of the dialogue was like shockingly absurd that people would say things like that, and I'm guessing those are the moments that are most real.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
I'm going to take another question down here.
Thanks. Well, did they ever, not realizing they were an actual couple, did you give them kind of liberty to say things to you like, this might go better this way, this might go better? I mean, did they engage themselves in what they probably wouldn't have if they weren't a couple?
Yes, I gave a lot of liberty because, but mostly prior to the shooting, because there's not a lot of time for liberty while you shoot. It costs more money, so you need to. Liberty is like when you don't pay. We talked a lot. It was very engaging. Basically, the thought behind it is if you get talented people and smart people to work on this with you, then you should listen to them because they probably have good ideas. And I was very, I was just trying to listen to their ideas and see what works, what would be better for the film. So it was an open conversation up until a point. But the point could be even just a second before we started shooting. We would rehearse. I would rewrite the scripts after rehearsals, and then just before shooting, we would rehearse once again, and we talk about the lines very quickly, and if something didn't sit, we could change it like in that moment.
Add on to that, were there some particular scenes where that happened in the movie, where they particularly weighed in?
I don't remember every scene. Every scene they had something to contribute, but sometimes I would have to insist because I would feel this is funny or this is important for the narrative. But in terms of making the film naturalistic and more easy on the ear and more musical, then I would listen to everything. I think the scene with the couple, with the dinner, like when they're drinking wine, the beginning is a scene that some of the lines changed. Maybe a lot of things changed in the editing also. A lot of the movie dialogue changed in the editing also. It's a constant, for me, it's a constant rewrite. Like rewriting the script, rewriting the scene before, rehearsing, rewriting in editing. I'm an endless rewriter.
I wanted to ask one last question. The film was played around the world. It premiered at the Berlin Film Festival. How does it play in Israel? How did Israel take the film?
From what I gathered, it was okay. I was kind of disappointed. I thought it was it would be more controversial than it was, but it was okay.
This isn't about us.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think Israelis experienced the film more as a comedy than in other countries. I think they understood more that the joke is on them and they could laugh about themselves, and especially the gay community, people who do surrogacy, and also they could see they could sense more the nuances of racism inside the film, I think, and they could go along with the humor of it. And so yeah, I think in Israel they laughed more in cinemas than they laughed in Berlin.
It's hard to get a laugh in Berlin.
In Berlin, the film was experienced as a gentrification film. Like they couldn't see the racism. It's like I'm joking.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
with
you
us.
so much.
Thank you for this wonderful film, folks. Please tell your friends the film is playing downtown at IFC and is available
Apple TV
Apple
and
TV.
Amazon Prime. Yeah.
And join us for more this week. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you. Have a good night.